Hello and welcome again, everybody, to the Scientific Origins channel and to this video series refuting creationist talking points directly and systematically. So this is a big one today, and I know I said I'd try to keep these videos in a watchable time frame. So this is the only one we're going to work on today, and it comes in many varieties. It comes in so many flavors, and we're going to touch on as many flavors of it as we can, and go as in depth as we can into it, because people have written entire books about this. I mean, Stephen Jay Gould, a large part of his career was just writing books about this, about how evolution is not the foundation of an immoral worldview, about how it's a descriptive scientific theory that can be perverted to all kinds of ends. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and the reality of real history and real science, and some of the lies creationists tell about it to advance their Christo-fascist agenda. Okay, so the reality, of course, we already started talking about this a little bit. Evolution is descriptive. It can't be immoral just by the fact that it itself is not a thing that can do immoral things. It is a model that we came up with to answer questions about natural history and solve problems in our attempts to study it and better understand it using what we learned to improve human existence, right? So it can be immoral. It can be used by immoral agents, just like anything can. Firearms, medicine, compounds, and chemistry. So to call it itself immoral is a pretty egregious misstep to begin with. But the fact is, it's just descriptive. It's just the fact of nature. It can't be moral unless just describing the truth of reality is immoral. So the other point that is a really effective refutation to almost everything creationists say on the subject of evolution being an immoral, the basis of an immoral worldview, is the fact that humans are social animals. Pro-social behavior is a selective advantage in social species, and social species develop social behaviors, use social traits, the tendency to cooperate and care for your young and other overlapping generations, like your old people. So it is the truth that things like there's some kind of based on evolution, but usually like a gross misunderstanding of evolution, are bad. So like things like social Darwinism and eugenics, those are both unequivocally bad. And creationists will claim that they are based on evolution, but they're actually based on improperly teaching evolution, on a poor teaching of evolution that completely misunderstands selection pressures and natural selection versus selective breeding. And it's all the more reason that non experts can be so damaging when they spread nonsense about this subject, right? Because it has major impacts when people don't believe evolution. They don't get a biology education. They don't become a doctor that helps somebody in a critical moment when they need surgery done on their toe or what have you. So, since they probably aren't going to stop, that's why I kind of have to be here and hopefully help meet some newcomers on their way into this when they Google evolution is right, or evolution is racist. Let me look this up, and they find my video, and you get to learn about evolution from me. Um, that's what I do. What I do. I enjoy it. I actually enjoy talking about the subject very much because evolution is very fascinating. It reveals a great deal about the reality around us. And getting back to the topic at hand, the whole reason science is so beautiful is because we want to know more. We keep pushing to know more, to find out the next thing, to the next rock we can flip over and see what's under it. And because of that, we are our harshest critics. We're always pushing ourselves harder. So to claim that evolution is the basis of an immoral worldview is really perverse, because It is just scientists doing science and using what we learn to make everything better for everybody. Like, you like having medicine, you like having museums, you like having all the social advancements that have come about. So maybe relax. Anyways. Okay, this one is one that pretty much necessitated the making of this video because you'll hear this and it's absolutely untrue. Every level of this is bullshit. So, like, really, I think it can be defeated by just asking the person who said it to just fucking take a second and think about it. I'm sorry to swear, but and that's what I'm making with my first point in this slide. Think about it. Were Nazis marching around going, Sieg Heil for the fatherland and evolution? That's a big thing with us. We love evolution and the Fuhrer and the fatherland. Like, no, these guys did not. They were not motivated by evolution. They were motivated by racial extremism. Ironically, Christo-fascist racial extremism. So as I say here in this example, you can see, the Nazi marching around saying we're totally influenced by the ideas of common ancestry, random mutation, natural selection, and hybridization. Like, yeah, that's just complete bullshit. It's totally ahistorical. The Nazis hated common ancestry. They hated the idea that they had anything to do with any human of any phenotype or haplogroup other than their Aryan racial idea, right? So common ancestry was totally offensive to them. They were disgusted by it. The idea that they were related to other living things like pond scum and flies, they hated it. Natural selection, they hated that too. They didn't want natural selection. They didn't want things going the way nature dictated. They wanted the Ubermensch, the Aryan Superman, to come in and force things into the way the Aryan ideal. They were trying everything they could to purify their bloodline. They were sterilizing, executing people, funneling them into camps. And ultimately, all they succeeded in doing was reducing the genetic diversity, which objectively harms species. So all of their ideas were wrong, and everything they did just fucked what they actually wanted to do right in the behind. So that is the first two things, but the next two, it's like it really, just thinking about this talking point does just refute it. Like, it's so stupid, it's so dumb. The Nazis loved random mutation. Are you kidding me? They hated that. They hated the idea that the Aryan Superman could be destroyed by just a couple of generations of mixing with other groups. That was the whole thing that motivated. And it lends some credence to an idea I have that I think sometimes creationists and evolution deniers and science deniers in general, they just say the thing that's like the most utterly, absurdly, just profoundly, distressingly in conflict with reality, so that you would have to think for like 20 minutes to come up with all the ways that what you just heard was absolute nonsense. Such complete bullshit. And the last point, I think, is the most powerful proof of that, because hybridization in evolution, they hated that the most of all, I think, because so much, like I said in the previous point, so much of their goal was to prevent the Aryan super type race from being perverted. They didn't want groups mixing. They had the whole concept of miscegenation. The Nazis and the American racial purists and the KKK, who they openly plagiarized it from, are the most epic proponents of it ever to exist. And so, yeah, to say that they were fueled by evolution is just absolute nonsense. It's so stupid. There's 4 points by which you can utterly refute this absolutely garbage, dumb claim, derp level claim. All right, so obviously people say lots of stuff about things that evolution is supposedly related to. So we've got a whole slide here for them. I don't know if we'll touch on every one of these, but we'll go over some of the basic shticks and spiels, right? So, evolution and evil. Evolution's evil. Evolution's gonna crawl out from under your daughter's bed and eat her in the night. Evolution is what the man who's standing around the corner ready to hit you with a crowbar is thinking about. It's evil. Oh. It's such a dramatic claim to take evolution, which is a natural scientific phenomena, just the process that creates all the biodiversity on a planet, right? And say that this is it's an evil thing, which is, by the way, a supernatural force that doesn't exist. So, yeah, it's a little tenuous of a claim to say evolution is evil. I'm sure there's lots of people that do bad things, right, that probably accept evolution, but I don't. Okay, like we've talked about examples of people perverting evolution, but that doesn't make evolution itself evil. That makes people evil. And people are so ingenious in their evil that they can find a way to do evil with things that you wouldn't expect, right? Evolution, there's people who do evil with medicine, there's people who do evil with utilitarian dilemma type things, and it's a gray area, but if I'm being as harsh as possible to the claim, it's just silly. I can't take it seriously to say that evolution is evil. I can't, I almost can't even say it seriously because it's so dramatic. It's so dramatic, y'all. So evolution and naturalism. This makes sense. This is ultimately what the debate is about, actually. You might think that you're debating evolution, but really you're debating naturalism against a theist, usually, is how this works. And naturalism is just the philosophy that things are better explained with a natural explanation. And I don't think it's ever failed. I think if I ask how do I get up and go open my back door that I'm looking at right now, the answer is naturalism. My brain has a thought, it goes through my body, and I get up and I go and I move the door with physics. Naturalism explains everything that can be explained for the most part. And the only things outside of naturalism are like metaphysics about fiction. And ironically, that's where a lot of the beliefs of people you'll be debating like this lie. So evolution and materialism. Oh no, I forgot one more quick point before we moved on. Evolution is especially fueled by methodological naturalism, which is really what science uses for everything. It's just methodological naturalism. And the reason why is because methodological naturalism is just better. That's the short of it. That's the short and stiff of it. I can expand a little bit by saying that think about it like a murder investigation, right? If you have a list of suspects and on any of the suspects on that list is a ghost, we're not going to investigate that suspect. I can't put handcuffs on a ghost. So let's table that and investigate the other suspects first. And that's why we use methodological naturalism in science. If we want to ask the question and actually get some kind of answer to the question, what's up with all the species on this planet, man? Like, where did they come from? How many are there? Naturalism is the process we're going to use. We're not going to invoke a supernatural explanation for the number of species on this planet, right? Or anything that can actually be physically measured and calculated. Scientism. Maybe this one should be its own video because it's a very common talking point these days. It is true that the most damaging talking points are the ones where there's like a kernel of truth in them, and this is one of them. So there are examples of the media just shitting all over science, really. Just shitting all over science and shitting all over journalism at the exact same time. Because what they do is they have journalists who don't know dick about shit about science, writing articles and making videos about science breakthroughs to fill the endless gap of news time that they have to fill. And there's a lot of misrepresentations because the only thing that really gets attention and gets ratings on a 24-hour media news cycle is outrageous claims, sensational claims. So you end up with papers like chocolate is a weight loss tool. People lose weight on chocolate. And a lot of what it is lying with statistics, lying with math, cherry picking, and, manipulating sample sizes and outliers to get a misleading paper, and then journalists run wild with it, and people only read the headlines. So there's multiple layers of distortion happening. There's distortion happening in the actual paper itself. There's distortion happening in the reporting, and there's distortion happening in people consuming the reporting. And so that is a real problem. But evolution isn't one of those things, you guys. Evolution is a very well settled scientific fact that's supported by an overwhelming array of evidence. And we'll talk more about that in this and other videos. All right, evolution and communism. Okay, so there is some credence to the fact that pro-social behavior is a selective advantage for social species like humans. And so maybe we should be more social. Maybe we should be more kind of socialistic even, or kind of like a little communist even. Maybe living on communes and doing communism style stuff. And again, that's just people who have their viewpoint and they take evolution and they fold it into it. And it's not that hard to do. I mean, you can see how somebody would rationalize communistic ideals using evolution, just like you could see how somebody would rationalize Christian ideals using evolution. And watch the evolution deniers just take the little sample. You can use. Oh, God. I won't make it easy for them. All right, so evolution and atheism. This is the most common. This is the one you're going to hear over and over. Because again, like you think you're arguing about evolution, but really you're arguing about the existence of God versus the non-existence of God. And the person you're arguing with thinks that if they can disprove evolution, then God exists. So you have to disprove God to them to prove them wrong about evolution, and you're not going to do that. They're not. It's not going to happen. But like, I, I love your effort, and I love that you are like, man, this person just doesn't have good information. I'll give it to them, and they'll change. No, that's not going to happen. They already know that evolution is a satanic theory that is uh, perpetuated by evil atheistic evolutionist scientists like me to make people like you decide that God isn't real. And that's just not the case. Keep believing in God if you want to. I think if any God makes the most sense, it would be an old Earth evolutionary creationist God without any intelligent design type thing, because it would be totally deistic. Like it just spat the universe out and then just went about its thing. It doesn't even think about us. It doesn't care about us at all, and it's not. It hasn't ordained everything or anything like that. But I don't believe there's deities. Like even that one, I think is not real. So that's why I'm an atheist. Evolution was a part of my deconstruction from religion to being an atheist, but it's not because of evolution itself. It's because of how many lies were told to me about evolution by Christian apologists, basically, and Christian pastors and preachers. A lot of these last ones, it's these are just gonna indicate to you that you're dealing with probably a MAGA. And most evolution deniers these days are MAGA, I think. Like 9 out of 10, I would say. And it's just whatever, left wing buzzword just drives them up the wall the most. Porn, divorce, vaccines, global birth, crime, survival of the fittest. So evolution deniers, in their bids to convince you that evolution is the basis of an immoral worldview, will try to relate it to anything they can that they think you or people in the audience hate. So, porn, divorce, vaccines is a big one because this is also evolution denial. There's quack magnetism, right? Crank magnetism, crank cross contamination, if you will, where people believe in one conspiracy theory, they're more likely to believe in others, which is one of the reasons why I'm like, dang, now I kind of feel like we even have to crack down on silly and stupid conspiracy theories that aren't harmful, like Bigfoot and shit like that. I'm like, man, if you're a Bigfoot hunter, I probably don't fuck with you not so much anymore, because some of you might not be an evolution denier yourself, but some of your friends probably are. No, I kid, of course. In case Dave from Captive Desk watches this, I should probably apologize for the words I just said against his holy savior Bigfoot. I apologize, Dave. Yeah, vaccines are a big one. Globe Earth. Look, it's just a fact that the Earth is a globe. I am so sorry if you didn't know that. Please let me be the first to tell you. If you're young, that's probably okay. Like, depending on how, like, you probably should have learned. But like, if you're like a teenager or younger, like, okay, kind of. If you're an adult, if you're in your 20s or older and you don't already know that the Earth is a globe, you're really behind. You need to catch up a little bit. We've known the Earth is a globe for, God, I think it's literal millennia. But nevertheless, there's basic observations that anybody can do that shows the Earth is a globe. One of the easiest is to just look at the moon. You might be aware that the Earth casts a spherical shadow on the moon. Okay, well, that's only possible if the Earth is a globe, you guys. If it were a flat circle, it would cast an ellipse on the moon, right? Unless it was directly underneath the Earth and the moon were directly on top of the Earth, which we know it isn't, right? So the Earth's a globe, but people who deny that will bring up evolution. It's part of what is becoming a conspiracy theorist Gish Gallop, right? If you encounter a conspiracy theorist, they're going to ask you like 20 questions. They're going to ask if you're, and a lot of them will be these, are you naturalist, you materialist, you an atheist, you communist, do you like vaccines? Do you think you're a monkey on a spinning ball that water clings to? Unlike every other ball we can observe, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, they're just trying to overwhelm you with their conspiracy theorist worldview, which is mostly constructed of these fuckwit slogans and the absurd ideas behind them. And again, sorry for swearing, but that's just the word I use for it. I'll try to use F-wit or mid-wit for you to just take some of the sting out of that. Yeah, there was a specific point about crime, but I forgot. We won't go into it. And obviously, they'll bring up survival of the fittest and say it's evil or it's racist, when really the fittest organism is the one that treats others well, right? Especially for humans. That necessitated the making of the video. You will hear this a lot, and a lot of this is because of the cross-contamination in conspiracy theory-based cults. And the other cult responsible for this one is the pseudo-archaeology cult, believe it or not. These absolute, I'm going to use it for them this time, these absolute fuckwits, dumb ass pieces of shit that fucking think Atlantis was real. It's like thinking that Narnia is fucking real or that Hogwarts is real. Atlantis was not real. I know I'm just dropping absolute truth bombs on you today if you didn't know these things, right? If you didn't know that the Earth is a globe and you didn't know that Atlantis is a fictional place that was made up by Plato, welcome to the world. I'm happy to introduce you. Glad to have you. Just know that if anybody tells you anything other than this, they're full of it, and you're good. You don't even have to like and subscribe. You better like and subscribe to my content. You better. Anyways. Okay, so evolution am racist. This is something evolution deniers say a lot. They claim that Darwin was racist. He may have been. I mean, old white dudes were racist a lot. And relatively, I think Darwin was less racist than the average old white dude. And same for Huxley, but I don't know. You can make an argument that they're racist, or that evolution itself is racist, or other races, people who were racist used evolution, which is usually a lie. Like, I give two examples directly. Hitler, like we went over, is a Christian creationist who wrote directly about how he didn't like evolution and thought humans were created by God, and that the Aryan was God's chosen race anyways. And Stalin, who kind of accepted evolution, but actually believed in Lamarckism. They're really, it's kind of just an appeal to consequences, right? Like, even if evolution is racist, it's just describing the truth of nature. So it doesn't say one thing or another about whether or not it's true. I happen to think it's extremely untrue that evolution is racist, because it shows that the parameters between living things are blurry. It is a vague continuum, that this thing that we call life. And what looks to be one species might be perfectly compatible with another species that you might not expect. And that is because we all share common ancestry, and we share some level of common genetic alleles. And yeah, so I don't think evolution can be bigoted at all, really, when you think about it. And this is just like, this is to cap it off. This is what people are, when people are trying at the bottom of the barrel, trying to justify their claim that evolution is the basis of an immoral worldview, right there. This is where they're like desperate, clutching at straws. And the snobbery accusations come in. Oh, you evolutionists are so mean. You come into our creationist groups and you talk about biology. How dare you? How dare you ask us a question about the biological species concept? You elitist, right? And yeah, they're basically just still trying to push this argument that evolution am bad because evolution make people do bad thing. And this is just not the case. Evolution has made people do great things, like study medicine and become a doctor, and study agriculture and create crops that feed millions of people, like Norman Borlaug did. Yeah, so that's just bullshit from the ground up. Evolution is a very gracious, generous thing that has given us a great deal. And these are some other related talking points. So, equal time, teach the controversy. Right, yeah, I swear too much. It's true. They got me on that one. I definitely like to drop an F bomb or an S bomb now and then. So equal time. You can teach creationism in a religion studies class all you want. Teach creationism lessons all day in your religious studies class. If you're training people to be biologists and doctors and zoologists and ornithologists, they're going to need to learn evolution. That's what they're going to have to learn to do that job. Okay, so there shouldn't be any time spent for that in a biology class. So we're not going to teach the controversy, because there is no controversy, right? That's the second point, is that this controversy, this debate doesn't exist outside of online spaces with high numbers of religious apologists in them. Everywhere else, evolution is a fact. Just like, it's almost exactly true for flat Earth as well. That flat Earth is true everywhere except in spaces with a large number of religious apologists in them. And that's just something evolution deniers are going to have to deal with. Your stuff's going to be conflated with flat Earth a lot, because it's exactly the fucking same, honestly. And so I think with that, we can conclude this. I anticipated, I told you it was going to be about 30 minutes, didn't I? Maybe I didn't call out 30 minutes exactly, but I said it was going to be long. longer, even though it's just 1 point. And I could go for hours, but I think 30 minutes is pretty good. So let's close it out there and say thank you for stopping by the Scientific Origins channel, where we bravely explore reality and decide whether or not the data and observations we collect as we do so match our proposals and our scientific models, and we inform others about the truth of what we find using investigable and verifiable methods. Thank you.